I'm relaxing in my living room with a hot cup of ginger and caraway tea. It's cold outside, and there's no better way to spend the evening just chilling and sipping on a hot cup of herbal tea. And today, for me, it's caraway and ginger. I boil them together, add a little honey, and just relax and sip on it. Moments like these bring back pleasant memories, and many of my most pleasant memories came during my 25 years of nursing practice. Most of that time I spent in the hospital caring for very sick patients, and they love to share their stories with me, and I love to listen to them. And I'm going to share one of those stories that I heard with you tonight. See, I always learn so much from my patients and learn a lot of lessons that help me to shape my life. And I hope you too will learn something from this story. So let's get started. So, I had a patient, a gentleman who was about 67 years old, and he had retired for about 5 years. He worked for the government and had a good pension and great social security, had retired for about 5 years, and he said he just pretty much stayed home and watched TV all day and ate, didn't go for a walk, didn't have any particular thing that he did except to sit around and watch TV. He had one son whom he loved dearly, and the son would tell him, he told me the son would tell him all the time, Dad, you need to find something to do, get busy, volunteer, do something. It's not healthy to just sit around every day watching TV. Make some friends, and do something. And he said he just ignored the son. He would just get up, have his coffees, breakfast, and watch TV, have his lunch, watch TV, have his dinner, watch TV. I can understand that because after working probably for some 40 years, you just want to chill. But after having done it for a few years, it should have occurred to him that he needed to do something with his life. One can't just retire and sit around waiting to die. But many of us do. Anyway, the story continues. Um, for the last 2 years, he said he had been having back pain, and the back pain kept getting worse. He would go to his physician, and they would give him pain medicine. He said that the pain medicine started out to be Percocet, and then they would add ibuprofen because the Percocet alone wasn't helping. And then ibuprofen and Percocet wasn't helping. They would add OxyContin, just one pain pill after the other to treat this severe back pain, which they felt was due to injury from his previous job. Now, it had been almost 2 years, and he said the pain kept getting worse to the point where just before he came in to see me to the hospital, like the day before, so it had gotten to the point where he was not able to move his legs or to stand. The pain was so excruciating, and the legs had become very weak. So the son insisted that he called 911, which he did. He called 911, and the paramedics brought him to the emergency room. The physicians promptly did an MRI. I think they did a CAT scan. That's what they did. CAT scan of the spine, because you can't move your legs, more than likely something neurological. And they saw some spots. So they did a CAT scan of the chest, of the abdomen, of the spine, of the hip, and they saw some other stuff. So they did an MRI. I think this gentleman was in the emergency room for over 6 hours because by the time he got to me, he was uh, so grateful to be in a bed as opposed to be in a gurney. So they did an MRI, and sure enough, it confirmed that he had cancer all over. He had cancer in his chest, cancer in his back, in his spine, hip, cancer, and didn't look good, they told him. So by the time he got to me, he said he had been in the emergency room for several hours, was quite frightened and scared and depressed and all of that. So they called a volunteer. We had a volunteer department at this hospital, and these were seniors that had retired and chose to come and give of their time. They would fill water pitcher or just talk to the patients. They would wheel patients down when they're being discharged. They'd bring flowers and magazines and the newspaper to the patients or just talk with the patients. Many seniors had volunteered to do this. So they called one of the seniors, and she came and spent several hours with him, just talking to him, listening to him. And when by the time he got to me, he told me, "Oh, I just love what she does. If I get out of here," those were his words, "I'm going to volunteer here and do what this lady does because I believe I would enjoy it." Needless to say, this gentleman went on to tell me how, he had been retired for 5 years. He wasted his life. He just sat around watching TV. His son kept telling him to do something with his life. He didn't. And now he was having regrets. And then he told me if he ever got out of the hospital, these are the changes he would do. These are the things that he would do. One of them, namely volunteering. He went on to tell me that he was a musician in Bob Marley's days. He said he knew Bob Marley and he used to play um, rock and roll in Bob Marley's days. He had a band. He even showed me his little band performing on YouTube. But after he retired, he had time to get involved with his music again, but he just never did. Just never did. Now he was having all kind of regrets, regretting not having picked up his music again, regretting not getting involved in the community, regretting just sitting around and watching TV, and as he said, just wasting his life. Regrets, regrets, regrets. Now, what did I learn from that? Even though we retire, retirement from our job doesn't mean we should sit around and watch TV and wait to die. Okay? When one is 62 or 65, it doesn't mean we're old. It doesn't mean we're ready to die. Okay? We transition to another phase. Okay, so rather than running to a job from 8 to 4, 8 to 5, now, as he said, you could volunteer, pick up a hobby, learn something new, do some reading, get into exercise, tweak the eating habit, get on a healthy pathway, go help the poor, the elderly, children, volunteer, do something, learn a new skill. Learn to paint, learn something different. Okay, there's so many things that one can do once one buys one's slavery from these jobs. Life, I think, begins after we've packed up the job and are able to have freedom to do whatever we want to do. We don't have to sit around and watch TV and just sit around and wait to die. Find a hobby, find something to do, start living and enjoying our lives so that if we're ever in this gentleman's position, we can say at least we didn't waste our lives. We lived and we did what we wanted to do, and we um, made a difference in the lives of others. I tell you, when you start serving other people and doing good to other people, it gives you purpose and it makes your life rewarding and fulfilling. Okay? So, I've always been involved in many, many things that I enjoy doing, but I learned from this gentleman and I make sure that every day of my life counts. Whether I am on a job or not, I do the things that I like to do and I serve people and make a difference in the life of other people. I tell you these stories because I hope that we all can learn from these people. Who knows what has happened to my wonderful patient? He could have passed away. I don't know. But I just know that he had many regrets about not having done, for example, what he loved, his music. And as he said, he could have volunteered to help others. He didn't do it. He didn't do these things. And he was living with regrets, perhaps, at the end of his life on this earth. Take care and God bless you.